Welcome to the City. I'm Anthony Wilson, the Communications Director for the City of San Angelo. And today we're here to talk about a very special program in our Economic Development Department. I'm talking about the Business Retention and Expansion Program. And here to talk about that is our Business Retention and Expansion Program Coordinator, Shannon Scott. Shannon, thank you for being with us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Now, instead of saying that whole long title throughout this program, I'm just going to call it BREP.
Perfect.
Which is what everyone sort of knows it by. But tell us what BREP does.
Okay, so as you said, it is our Business Retention and Expansion Program. And essentially what it is it's a program that's designed to help local businesses that are located here in San Angelo that are wishing to grow or expand, make a significant capital investment, or hire additional employees. And there's certain incentives that the city can, or more so the City of San Angelo Development Corporation through our half-cent sales tax funds, can actually help with that growth, help encourage that and facilitate that growth.
Now, when you talk about assistance, what sort of assistance is available through the BREP program?
So again, there is certain incentives like a capital investment incentive. So if someone is looking to add on to their current facility or expand, we could potentially offer them an incentive for that. So say they're looking to build a 10,000 square foot building and it's going to cost them maybe $2 million. So once they make that $2 million in capital investment, we can give them, say, $50,000 for making that capital investment and making that expansion part of their existing facility.
Now talk about why that is important for the city and for our tax base as far as incentivizing those sort of investments in our community.
Sure. So of course, we want to nurture and help grow the companies that have chosen and decided to locate here in San Angelo and headquarter their business here. So they've made a decision that they want to make San Angelo their home for their business, and we want to, again, nurture that growth and encourage future growth for similar industries. Now, I will say that there are only certain industries that we can help incentivize, and we base that off of what we call a North American Industrial Classification System code, or a NAICS code. And essentially that would be your businesses like your manufacturing, your industrial type, things like that. And the reason that we choose those types of businesses is because they help bring money into the city. So typically those types of businesses have lots of customers outside of the city limits, but in turn, since they're headquartered here, that money stays within the city or comes to the city. Now, unfortunately, certain industries like a retail business, we couldn't help because they typically tend to circulate money within the community or send it outside. And we don't want to necessarily encourage, not that we don't encourage that kind of growth, but it's not something we could potentially incentivize for.
And so when these companies are making huge capital investments in our community, that helps to grow our tax base, and it helps to shift ever so slightly the burden of funding city services from homeowners to our commercial customers.
Exactly, and that's really the point of the program is, as we know, San Angelo has fairly high property tax rates for the state and the nation, and so the more that we can help with the growth of these certain industries, it helps alleviate that tax burden on our residents.
Is there a cap or a maximum amount that a BREP recipient can receive?
Not necessarily. Again, what we'll do is we'll sit down with the business and we'll really gauge their demands and their needs, and we'll cater an agreement or an incentive package that helps to address those needs that they're wanting. Again, I guess we could say that there is a potential cap for our job creation incentives. We can incentivize anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 would be our cap for a job creation incentive. Capital investment, again, it really just depends on the amount that they're willing to invest. So there are some stipulations, but again, we're pretty flexible depending on what their needs are.
And so you've talked about the capital investment, but the other important ingredient of that is, as you said, the job creation. How important is it for us to try to incentivize companies to create more jobs and create that churn within our local economy that you talked about?
Exactly. So again, not only do we want to help incentivize for capital investment, but we want to encourage that job growth. We want to encourage job creation in conjunction with that capital investment. So encourage people, San Angelo already has a low unemployment rate as it is, which is great, but we do want to continue to encourage that growth and that job creation within our local industries.
So talk a little bit about some of the local companies that have benefited and grown as a result of the BREP program.
So One of our most recent recipients is Principal LED, which is, again, a local company that has chosen to do business here and chosen to do their manufacturing lighting component business. And so we incentivize them, again, for an expansion and for job creation. So that's one of our big ones. We have companies such as Caltech, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Carter Fentress was the most recent one. So a lot of different diversification of businesses, but again, certainly ones that obviously qualify and fall under those NAICS codes. So.
We traditionally think of economic development as landing some outside company, encouraging them and incentivizing them to come and relocate here in our community. Everyone seems like they're fishing for the big white whale. But talk about why it's important to work with businesses that already exist here in San Angelo, because really and truly that can be a very strategically smart way to grow jobs and our commercial tax base, yes?
Exactly. So again, when you talk about recruiting outside companies, that's more of a chamber job. And fortunately, we are good partners with the chamber. So the chamber can go out and recruit outside companies. Not that we couldn't at the Development Corporation, but that's kind of their sole purpose. But in conjunction with that, we can help incentivize those outside companies so that we actually contract out with the chamber to recruit outside companies to come in, and then we can help and offer an incentive package with that. However, again, the purpose of the Business Retention and Expansion Program, or the BREP program, is to really cater to our local businesses that, again, have decided to conduct their business here, and we want to encourage that growth and show that, as a city, as a development corporation, we care about our local businesses and we want to take care of them.
Do you think it's easier to grow businesses that are already here in San Angelo versus trying to fish and bring in businesses from other communities?
Absolutely, and I can't remember the quote from back in my marketing days, but it's much easier to grow something that's already existing than it is to bring something brand new in. So I don't like to use the phrase low-hanging fruit, but they're here, they've chosen to conduct business, they've shown an interest in our community, and it's our job and our duty to help them with that and help them with their growth.
So what does the process of applying for BREP funding involve?
So essentially what they would do is they would contact me, we would sit down and again have a meeting to really gauge their needs, gauge their future, what they're looking at as far as growth and hiring additional employees and things like that. So every situation is unique and different, and it really just takes a meeting or two to sit down and gauge and see what those potential plans are for future growth. And then once we've established that, of course we do have a performance agreement. Again, it's nothing very stringent, it's flexible. We want to make sure that it really fits their needs. So we construct a performance agreement. We do have a seven-member board, the City of San Angelo Development Corporation board, that must approve all of our projects. So it will go to the board for their approval and then eventually to City Council for their ratification or their final approval. And then once that's done, we can execute the contract, which essentially means here's your permission to go ahead and start your growth, hire your folks, and go from there.
So how easy or onerous do you think it is for a company to apply for and to earn some BREP funding?
Well, it's really not. And since I've taken over in January, I want to make that process very streamlined and expedited. I think sometimes folks have a fear of city government and that we're difficult and hard to deal with. And I want to kind of banish that idea. Approach me, stop by my office, give me a call. I want to make this easy for them and make it a good process for the both of us.
You mentioned something a little earlier that I really want to stress, and that is we don't just hand these companies a big pile of cash or a check. They have to make the investment, produce the jobs before they actually receive the incentive, right?
That's correct, and I'm glad that you pointed that out. So when I say an agreement or a contract, we actually call it a performance agreement. So again, they must perform before we can pay them out the incentives.
So if a local entrepreneur is watching this and they're pondering whether or not they may qualify for BREP and if it's something that they should explore further, make a pitch to them about why they should come and talk to you and see what the possibilities are with BREP.
Oh, absolutely. If there's any question about whether you think you would qualify as someone that fits within those NAICS codes, or you even think we're looking to expand, we may not hire additional employees, but we're making a capital investment. If you're even questionable, just come and talk to me. Again, it doesn't cost anything but your time to come and sit down and determine whether you are a qualified candidate. So again, just reach out to me, and I'd be happy to sit down and talk to you and see if your business is someone that would qualify for incentives.
And so where can people go if they want more information about the Business Retention and Expansion Program?
So they can contact me, of course. My phone number is 653-7197, or they can go to our city website at cosatx.us/BREP. And my office is located at 69 North Chadbourn in the Business Resource Center, so any of those avenues would be a great start.
We've been talking with Shannon Scott. She is the Business Retention and Expansion Program Coordinator for the City of San Angelo, and we hope you'll join us for the next episode of The City.